Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Ferragamo's gun review here. This is not about a gun. This is whatever. This is about how to properly protect your home in a home invasion. Now, I have not personally experienced this and hope I never do, but here's a great way to basically protect yourself as much as possible. Or in any case scenario, if you work somewhere and they allow you to concealed carry, how to properly find cover and all that. So first step you want to do is you want to map out the building or the place of residence where you'll be at in case something happens. You'll see two maps here. This is just a layout of a random house. This is the main floor, and this is going to be the basement. As you can see, where the gun is, it's going to be an X. So for instance, I would not recommend having a gun in every single room. That's a little overkill. But I do recommend you having it strategically placed. So in case someone busts through the front, the side here, or the back, because the garage is here, and then there's a back door into the garage, which you could enter into the house, etc., etc. You want to make sure that you have a game plan. You know, God forbid it happens, you just want to have a game plan. The first thing you want to do is map out where realistically you'd set each firearm. As you can see, there's a car outside, meaning let's say you go to the gun range, and then your vehicle has a firearm in it. However, it's in your car, nowhere near the house. They could break into that car, take it, and then use it to their advantage. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have it all, like at least 2 or 3 in the house entirely. Or it depends on how many you need, but you don't need one in every room. That's a little over the top. What you want to do is you want to map out and different angles you would hold in case they break through. So the first thing that you would want to do is always know where you put them. You want to know this in case, you freak out and you don't know what you do. So always put the firearm where you will know, like a wallet. You never want to put your wallet somewhere that, from my experience, to put a wallet or my phone somewhere else than I usually do, I don't know where I'm going to look and I freak out. And then usually that postpones. However, that's not a life or death situation. Getting your house or your place of work broken into, that's a big, huge deal. So knowing where they are at all times is key. Also, putting them somewhere that the home invaders will not look for them, because the first thing they're going to do is they're going to look for any firearm and take it away from the user of the house. Most of the time, they don't want to deal with someone in the house at the time. Realistically, no one's going to go around their house with a concealed carry. There's no reason for that. There's no reason for that at all. Just because that's a little bit of paranoia having one on you at all times in your house. Just, if you're going to have them, I say put 1 or 2 in the house. Depends on what the rules are. I'm not allowed to have them in the house. So let's just say if when I get my own place type of ordeal. But I kind of mapped out kind of where the situation is. You want to know your location and the angles you can hold. For instance, you want to know, like let's say you're in this side of the building. You want to have it in that area where it's not going to be a lot of walking around. You want to have it close quarters. Let's say I'm in the master, which is right here, and I hear a break-in in the front, right? I want to make my way quickly and find where to fire, which is located right here. Ideally, you'd want it closer to where you'd be at. So let's say you're in here, which is the guest room, right? And you hear someone breaking in here. The last thing you want to do is go all the way and cross where they're going to be looking. So always have one where they're not going to be looking. And you want to react fast. So I would have one there. I would also either have one there, here, or somewhere in that area. That way, if you're here and they break in, you can basically run there. Because I guarantee you, if you run all the way to the garage, they're going to chase after you. But if you run all the way here, you're good to go. So have one really close by where you're going to be at all times. So let's say I'm over watching television here. I hear a break-in from here, right? They might see me, but they're not going to have time to react if I run this way. However, if I run through the kitchen, all the way here, they're going to have time to react. So you want to go somewhere centralized, but you don't want it to be in the middle where if you pick it up, they're going to have sight on you. You want to go somewhere there's a little bit of cover in case they open fire back. So I'd recommend having it at different sides of the house, because let's say I'm in the dining room or the kitchen and I hear a break in there or in the back. I want to make sure that there is somewhere in the house located where I can get it. Over here is the basement, right? Keep it here. If you're in a basement, you have a better chance because they're not going to break into the basement. You can also run into the basement and have it over here or here. So that's the first step, knowing where the location you're at and how you're going to get to the firearm as quickly as possible. Secondly, what you want to do is you want to strategically place them. I'm going to cough in 1 second. Sorry about that. Final saliva got me to cough a little bit. Secondly, you want to strategically place it for angles that'll make you better covered. Like I said, you don't want to put it right by the closet. You don't want to put it in the middle. You don't want to put it in the dining room because there's windows right there. So if you think about it, if there's 3 or 4 of them circling around the place, the last thing you do is put something in view of where they're going to be. Because chances are, if they see that, they're going to be watching that like crazy. And they're going to basically open fire on you if they want to. Or if they have a means to take your possessions. How bad they want. So yeah, you want to have a strategic placement so you can get the cover you need. Now, obviously, if I'm over here, I hear a rock being thrown, right? Or I see in the window people with guns coming in the house. In the future, when I'm allowed to have guns in my own house, since I still live under the roof of my parents right now, you want to be able to go somewhere where they're not going to be able to see you grab what you're going for. You want to, if there's windows, you want to find somewhere where there's blinds that are lacking their view into that room. Because let's say the bedroom's here and you have the blinds open, you don't want to go in there. You want to go to maybe the one without the with the blinds on the window, or maybe you just want to go into somewhere without, window access. So that's another thing. You want to make sure they don't see you grab it. Because if you grab it, either one thing, they're going to run, or two, if they really want your possessions, they're going to basically take it serious and load their weapons and fire at you. So you want to make sure where you put it, they cannot see you grab it. Another thing you want to do, which sounds crazy, is you want to have a gun somewhere, but the ammo somewhere else. Yeah, you want to load the magazine. But, when you load the magazine, let's say you have 20 shots, or you have an AR pistol, and you have 30 shots. You load that magazine, but what you do is you put the firearm somewhere, and you put the magazine in the same room, but in a different location. This means, same with ammo, this means if they find the ammo, let's say they find ammo right in here, you basically have ammo in a corner here. They'll see that ammo, and they might take that ammo. However, the firearm might be here, and the magazine might be in the bathroom, right? But you still want it in a close coordination, because last thing you want to do is basically have the mag here in this room, and have the firearm in the kitchen, and have the ammo here. You want to have the ammo in these 3 rooms, basically, right? You want to have the ammo maybe in this room, the magazine's in here, and the firearm in there. That way, if they see the firearm, they're not going to be able to use it to their advantage, right? Only you'll know where it's located, and then etc. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a bait switch. When they see the firearm, they're going to be, I can't shoot this. I'm going to look for ammo, etc., etc. So you want to separate the magazine and ammo from the firearm, right? You always want to do that. Thirdly, you want to get to the point where, yes, safes are good, but you want to make sure you know that code 100%. Let's say you have a safe in the house. The last thing you want to do is not be able to get the firearm to protect yourself. So, yeah, you want to make sure that you're able to access the firearms and everything around there. And then fourthly, you want to have strategic angles that you hold. What you want to do is you want to dry fire. What dry firing is no ammo, there's no live rounds in use. You basically just use a magazine, or whatever, or if you have a handgun, you don't do magazine, because if you slide it back and forth to load what would be a round, it would lock back. What you want to do is you want to dry fire. Practice dry firing. You want to practice different scenarios. That way you're prepared. So let's say someone comes in the front. You want to be able to time yourself, or have someone time you grabbing the firearm, loading the magazine, or getting the ammo and hand loading it quickly. You want to time yourself, that way if something happens in real life, and do your research too. You want to make sure you do research on how quick it takes a home intruder to break into your house, how long you have to call 911 or whatever. That way you can make the best decision. And what you want to do is you want to do that. So maybe once a week or twice a week in your free time, if you're bored, just practice your dry firing. Practice different angles of hold. Let's say you grab that, they're breaking in the front, and you dash and you get cover. You want to make sure that you're able to find the cover needed. Also, if you don't have any suppressors, firearms tend to get loud. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have hearing protection somewhere in the house too. Now, obviously, you have to hear. So I recommend having one, not using the big earmuffs, because the big earmuff ones, if you're trying to hold an angle, it'll bang against it and you won't be able to hold a tight angle. Get those little earbud type sound protection, headphone sound, whatever. I don't know what it's called. And what you want to do is you want to practice putting that on, as well as, getting the firearm good. Because, if you're not prepared, you could easily lose your hearing. And then that's no good. So you want to practice that. You want to know by heart the location. And let's say you're at work. You want to know different angles in the back of your mind, if they even let you conceal at work, in the back of your mind in case an active shooter comes. How you're going to basically pull out your holster, because most of the time at work you're not going to be able to get an AR pistol, because it's still a bigger, it's not a stock, but it basically has a brace on it. So basically it's going to stick out. You can't really put that in your waist because it has a brace on it. So basically you got to practice, taking your handgun out of the holster you have, making sure it's a good holster, and timing yourself. But if you're at home or a place of residence or apartment, I would draw out. What I would do is I would put that in whatever room that you look in the most, go over, make a few copies, and then, write down your plan of action too. But for this video's sake, I just have a general drawing. But what you want to do is you want to have a few different routes memorizing what you do. If they broke in this side, if they broke in the side, if they broke in the garage, if they broke in the front, they broke in the back, or if they broke in through the basement. You basically want to have a game plan for any situation. But yeah, you want to basically practice. Dry firing is essential. If you want to set targets in your own home with paper, you can. But like I said, don't practice with a hot round, because first of all, that's bad gun safety practice, and that causes a lot of unnecessary police getting called and possibly going to jail for negligent discharge or whatever. So definitely make sure that the firearm of choice is 100% clear. Make sure it's clear. There's no live rounds or even blanks, because they'll still make a noise. And the last thing you want to do is get the neighbors to hear gunshots in your house, be like, oh, and then get the police involved and possibly go in jail for whatever charge. But yeah, that's basically it on tips on how to stay safe during a home invasion. And if you don't have any firearms, just, find a route that will get you out of the house the quickest. If you don't want to use a firearm and you just, the best thing to do is just get out of the house. Get out of the house entirely, avoid the situation. But sometimes you don't have that opportunity. And if you have firearms to protect yourself, and you live in a state that has castle law, and it allows you that in any situation, if your life is in extreme danger, they have weapons, and then etc., etc. But basically, if you don't want to, basically have a quick plan on how you're going to escape. Go to a neighbor's house or run miles away, then call the police and say, there's people that are in my house, I had to run, etc., etc., if you don't want to use a firearm. But basically, that's a tip. Those are the different ways of protecting yourself in a situation. Yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and you enjoy the rest of your day.